Video we are going to explore the thread basics. Threads are operating system resources. First, let's explore how a modern operating system is built. Any modern operating system consists of a number of processes. If you see on your operating system, there are if you go to Process Explorer in Windows, you can see all the processes that are running. On Mac, these are all the processes I'm running on my system. But there are many hidden processes as well, which are the services, or there might be processes which does not have an interface and hence does not show up there, show up in this list. But any modern operating system runs many different processes in parallel. Now, how does those processes run? So the processor in a single processor system, the operating system schedules these processes to be run on the processor, because there is just one processor, and there might be, like, say, 10 different processes. The operating system actually takes any process, decides it to run on the processor, but the process will run till the time operating system decides it to run. That is called preemptive multitasking, meaning operating system, out of the 10 processes that are running on the system, operating system takes each of these processes and gives it a time slot to run on the processor. After the process is run, that might be, so this time frame might be a few milliseconds, but after that particular time is expired, the operating system throws that process back and gets another process to run on the processor. So that is called preemptive multitasking, where your operating system can preempt any process at any point of time. So it's different from earlier, what used to be very in the very early version of the operating system, that was called cooperative multitasking, where the processes themselves were responsible to relinquish the control of the processor. But now all the modern operating systems use preemptive multitasking, where they can decide when to run a process and when to when to make the process basically out of the processor. With that introduction, let's see how to so that's the processes. Now, threads are the basic building blocks of a process. Every process can consist of one or multiple threads. When you are writing a Java program, whenever you are writing a main function, this main function actually runs in a thread. Now let's see, how do we create more threads in a program. To create a new thread, all you have to do is you declare, let's say, my thread, then you say implements runnable. You have to implement an interface called runnable. The moment you implement the runnable interface, you have to override the method called run. That is public void run. Now, in this run, you define whatever this thread wants to do. For I just say index equal to 0, index less than or equal to, let's say, 100, index plus plus. I just say this thread will run 100 times and is going to print the thread name. By using this thread dot, you can say current thread dot get name. This is the way you get the name of a thread, right? So this will give you the name of the current thread. Thread.current thread returns a reference of the current thread, and by invoking get name, you can actually get the name of this thread. Now here I just say name of the thread plus the index. Let me do the exactly same thing with the main thread. Now this program, if I run this, so I'm creating, like, say the main is a main thread, then there is this my thread which is implementing runnable. Now let's actually create a thread. To create a thread, all you have to do is thread, let's say thread 1 equal to new thread. You say new my thread, right? This is the, all you have to do is to the thread constructor pass your new runnable class. So that is how you create a thread. So thread is a class, to it pass your my thread, and your thread gets created. But the thread only starts to run when you say thread dot start. So this is the way you create a new thread and you start it. This is start and it's not run. The actual like the actual function which is inside the thread is run method, but in the thread basics demo, the way we started the thread is by calling thread.start. It's not thread.run. What happens is when you say thread.start, it internally calls it first sets up many things inside the thread. So thread is an operating system resource. When you say thread.start, it actually invokes the operating system APIs to create a thread, and once the thread is created, it calls the run method. So now let's run this program and let's see what's happening. You say I run as a Java application. Now it gives me things. If you see, we are doing, so this is thread 0 and this is main thread. The name of the thread is thread 0 and the name of the main thread is main. And it's appending. If you see, these things are getting appended at very random order, right? I mean, first thread 0 runs, then the main thread runs, then thread 0 runs, then the main thread runs, main thread, thread 0. So there is no real order of running this thread on an operating system. If there are multiple threads running for a particular program, the operating system decides when to run which thread and which thread should be preempted at what point of time. You as an application programmer do not choose to preempt your thread, or you do not choose, you do not get to decide when your thread is going to run. So that is solely based on the mood of the operating system, and hence you will find the threads can stop running at any point of time, and that process, as we discussed, is called preempt a thread. The way we said the processes are preempted, the threads are also preempted.